Viewers, the Rig Vedas have described the mighty erstwhile Saraswati as the cradle of the Indic civilization. The confluence or Sangam of three rivers, Yamuna, Ganga and Saraswati, is celebrated at Prayag or Allahabad even today by crores of Hindus. The river that ran dry thousands of years ago and was said to be mythical has been rediscovered, and both satellite imagery and geological expeditions have shown how the powerful Harappan civilization thrived on its banks. One would have thought that a school of history in India's leading temple of learning, the Jawaharlal Nehru University, would have been keen to acquaint itself with these monumental facts. But unfortunately, the School of History in JNU has denied permission for a webinar on the Saraswati civilization because, according to JNU's professors, and I quote them, the debate has no relevance except in the minds of those who seek to advance their communal agenda. Yes, viewers, it is for this reason that Jawaharlal Nehru University will not want to allow a webinar on a river that has been described as the cradle of our civilization. They go on to say, these great teachers and the student faculty committee of the School of History in JNU, that the debate has no relevance except in the minds of those who seek to advance their communal agenda through an attempt to superimpose the mythical Saraswati over the well-excavated Harappan material culture. So they still, despite the scholarship that has gone into the discovery of the Saraswati River, they continue to deny its existence. Listen to one particular member of this JNU lobby that is so close-minded that it even reads communal motives in what is a historical fact. Listen to this.
There is no point in inviting a person, retired Major General G.D. Bakshi, to take part in an academic event in JNU. And there is no evidence to support Saraswati Civilization is having any connection, the associating a myth to an history. So it's actually purely an RSS propaganda, and ever since this government has come into power, they have actually tried to associate myth with an history. So it's a part of their propaganda without discussing with any faculties in JNU.
So viewers, they don't want General G.D. Bakshi to host this webinar, even though he's written a book on the Saraswati civilization. He's one of the authorities. He's been able to collate and access satellite imagery and a host of other data that underlines the existence of this monumental, thriving civilization. Now, viewers, this is coming from a university that prides itself in having an open mind to listen to the rantings of certain individuals that describe themselves as leading advocates of civil liberties. Yes, viewers, this decision to block Saraswati is highly disappointing, not least because JNU has, in the name of open and fair exchange of ideas, not my words but theirs, condoned the utterances of alleged separatists like Umar, Khalid, Sharjeel, Imam, who have advocated the breakup of India and called the death penalty awarded to Afzal Guru by the Supreme Court a judicial execution. Now, viewers, I want you to focus on the graphics I'm going to show you. And we put together a whole list of what is acceptable in JNU. what the faculty has no problems with. They have no problems with the establishment of the Muslim Students' Front, which is a grouping solely along communal lines and has been linked in the recent charge sheets filed in the Delhi riots to the disruption that we witnessed in the Union capital. They have no problems to Muhammad Ali Jinnah's posters plastered on the Savarkar sign board on the campus. And who is this individual? He propounded the two-nation theory in 1940 and before. They have no problems with Afzal Guru sympathizers who came out and opposed his hanging, saying it was a judicial execution, even though he was given due process. They have no problems with people coming out there and vandalizing the statue of Swami Vivekananda. They have no problems with people opposing free exchange of ideas on the Saraswati Civilisation. They have no problems, as I said, on suggesting, viewers, that V.D. Savarkar, his entire mention, his signages should be defaced with ink. So these individuals will interrogate ideas that suit their communal, reverse racist bent of mind, but will block ideas that is opposed to their point of view or even a historic fact which is inconvenient to them. Now, what do you make of this, viewers? I want to open this out, and I want to first begin not with General G.D. Bakshi, though by rights he knows the most about the Saraswati civilization, courtesy the book he's written, but with Dr. Anand Ranganathan, who is a professor at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this? The decision to blockade the Saraswati.
Yeah, good evening, Rahul. Thanks very much for having me. You know, there are two issues here, and please allow me to deliberate on both. One is of science, and the other is of politics. And as you know, if we mix science with politics, we end up with political science. The issue of science is the following, which is that one of the founding pillars for the totally discredited Aryan invasion theory is that the river Saraswati only existed as a monsoon-fed river. So that, it's mentioned in the Rig Veda that it says that it was a mighty river, is not acceptable. Now, the point is, last November 2019, there was a major paper published in Nature Scientific Reports that discredited that and said that Saraswati was a glacial-fed river and existed between 9,000 to 4,500 years ago. And in fact, one of the cornerstones of Harappan civilization. So these people don't know science. They might know Scientology, but not science. Now let me come to the other important issue. Even if this wasn't true, it is totally unacceptable and a blatant violation of freedom of expression. General Bakshi is as decorated a gentleman as they come. A war veteran, a speaker, and author of many books on military warfare. On what basis has he been prevented from delivering a lecture in webinar? The same JNU, Rahul, cheered and thumped tables when the murderous dictator and self-confessed Maoist Hugo Chavez came visiting. I don't know whether you remember that or not. Not a dry ice in the house for the tyrant then. It routinely lends an ear to those who call the killing of terrorists as judicial killings, who give space to people who mock and abuse the Supreme Court for ordering a terrorist to the gallows. For these protesters, right to protest is actually right to prevent. And then they call General Bakshi fascist. As their mentor Goebbels said, first rule of propaganda is that you accuse others of what you are guilty of. A place of learning where only one kind of view is welcome is not a university but a conformity. Now one may disagree with the views of General Bakshi. General Bakshi may not expound the views of science on Saraswati, but I don't care. Preventing him only means that you are a fascist. And who do you want in his place? Speakers who eulogize Karl Marx, who was the first one to propound the two-nation theory in his 1853 book, The Eastern Question? Or do you want people who eulogize Mao, who killed 63 million of his own people, or Che Guevara, who ran concentration camps for gays and executed political prisoners at will, or Stalin, who ran gulags and killed millions, or closer to home, the CPI founder Dange, who wrote 2 groveling mercy petitions to the British to let him out of jail, or EMS Nambudripad, who said, and I quote, "We will wreck Ambedkar's constitution from within." So who are your heroes? I think, Rahul, finally the time has come that JNU should set up multiple NDA schools and centers and hostels inside the campus to accommodate at least 1,000 military students every year. Let them be taught here. Let other students learn from these young Jawans. Believe me, within a year, forget politics and hooliganism and fascism, the delinquents will be singing Manoj Kumar songs instead of Afzalam Sharminda and Azadi Azadi.
Well, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, you're a very brave man, because I know that they will perhaps tomorrow do a massive dharna outside your house and not allow you to come out and even teach. So you're a very brave man, and I have to salute you for your absolute candor and your defense of free speech. I want to go across now to General G.D. Bakshi. General G.D. Bakshi, I'll ask you the question that JNU is desperate to ask you, but won't face you to ask you, which is, are you advancing some Hindutva agenda that these JNU types find reprehensible?
Rahul, my short point. You know, in 1930, there was the Copenhagen Convention held. The paradigm that had taken place in quantum mechanics, in physics. My simple point is that in the last, we have accumulated a whole lot of evidence in multiple disciplines: satellite imagery, geology, gene population genetics, right? And scriptural and linguistic analysis. The multidisciplinary seminar at the Delhi, some seminal questions about Indian civilization and identity.
Right.
Was there ever an Aryan invasion here? The Sapta Sindhava, the land of the 7 rivers, were the Rigvedic and the Harappan civilization one and the same? These issues need to be discussed, debated in the light of the most recent evidence. Now let me start one by one, Rahul, if you permit me. Landsat satellite sent up by the Americans in the late 70s showed us the full course, the paleo channel of the Saraswati. The Yamuna at one time had a paleo channel that linked with it. The Satluj used to link. And the perennial river, right, Rahul? Then our own satellite.
Own satellites, you say?
Have mapped every inch of this river, Rahul. There is.
Okay, we're having a few problems, General Saab, we're having a few problems with your audio. We're just going to link you back up. We're going to link you back up. There are a few problems, some problem with the connection. I'm going to bring in Ashutosh. Ashutosh, the evidence is being recounted. And let me quickly acquaint you with some facts. A mighty river, the mythical Saraswati of the Vedas, once actually flowed from the Himalayas to the sea via southern Punjab and Haryana, Rajasthan, into the Bahawalpur area of Pakistan, down to Sindh, and finally merged with the sea at the Rann of Kutch. It was a formidable perennial river that was fed by the ice melt waters of the Himalayan glaciers, by the rivers Yamuna and Satluj, which were its tributaries. It made it a mighty stream, some 6 to 8 kilometers wide along its entire course, some 25 kilometers south of Patiala. The Yamuna and Satluj joined it, and this massive stream was 20 kilometers wide. At this location, it has been cited by the Rig Veda and the Mahabharata. We have a Sangam, and we celebrate it at Allahabad. Why does it happen? If all of this didn't exist, then should not you be hearing out the other side? However you may despise the other side. What kind of university is this? you will give the likes of Sharjeel Imam free run, Umar Khalid free run. And listen, if you haven't heard what Sharjeel Imam said, I will play out what he said. Let's play it out. These are the words of Sharjeel Imam. Viewers, this is what Sharjeel Imam of JNU stands for. Listen to this. Listen to it.
हमारे पास हो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड तो हम हिंदुस्तान और नॉर्थ ईस्ट को परमानेंटली कट कर सकते हैं, पर परमानेंटली नहीं तो कम से कम 1 महीने के लिए तो कट कर ही सकते हैं। मतलब इतना मवाद डाले पटरियों पर, रोड पे, उनको हटाने में 1 महीना लगे, है कि नहीं? जाए एयरफोर्स से, असम को काटना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। असम और इंडिया कट के अलग हो जाए, तभी ये हमारी बात सुनेंगे। मुसलमान खुद को बचा ले, बहुत बड़ी बात होगी, और अगर हम खुद को बचाएंगे तो देश भी बच जाएगा, और अगर हम खुद को न बचा पाए तो ये देश भी बर्बाद हो जाएगा। कि भैया हिंदुस्तान ने कब्जा कर रखा है, कि ये जबरदस्ती का कब्जा है 70 साल से। मोदी तो आज आए, इन्होंने इसके आगे बढ़ाया है, क्योंकि ये स्पेस ऐसा है कि हम हिटलर के जर्मनी में रह रहे हैं, ये JNU नहीं है। यहाँ आप कुछ भी बोलेंगे आपको उठा लिया जाएगा, कंसंट्रेशन कैंप में डाल दिया जाएगा, पता नहीं।
There you go. This is not JNU. Whatever you say, you'll be put into a concentration camp. So why have they denied the space to General G.D. Bakshi, Ashutosh, to make his point? Tell me.
Rahul, why JNU exists since 2014 and why Anand Ranganathan is still working? Then he should have resigned, because he's living and working and teaching in a university which is a den of terrorists and anti-nationals. So he should immediately resign. And I completely agree with the General G.D. Bakshi.
Everyone should run away. Abandon JNU. Abandon JNU to the splitists, the separatists and the communalists.
What is this logic? I'm sorry, Rahul, but yet again he begins his diatribe with taking my name. I don't know what fascination he has of me.
Sir, answer the question.
Even my wife is not as fascinated with me as Ashutosh is.
Rahul, you have always been unfair. You give a free run to those whose views you like.
Sir, but did anyone insult the panelists? You're beginning with an insult of a panelist. Why are you making it personal? Talk about the issue. If you have something to say, then bring it out.
Ashutosh, मेरी शादी हो चुकी है
Rahul,
और मैं straight हूँ. Please look for someone else.
Did I start the John Snow thing? Who started that?
अरे भाई, आपका जो हो रहा है 5-6 दिनों से, you keep it out, no? You talk about what is happening today.
तैयार हो क्या?
You can settle it, sir. You can settle
You
it.
don't want to listen to me.
You can go and hold a dharna outside, Mr.
Why do you call me on your channel?
Anand Ranganathan.
If you don't want to listen to my views.
Why don't you listen to the question and answer the question instead of personalizing every debate?
I'm saying, you will not let anybody speak.
अरे भाई बोलिए.
Every day he begins with Anand Ranganathan.
No. Because you give him free run.
Free run?
Don't call me on a channel.
Ashutosh ji, why don't you speak on the subject? Who is stopping you?
I'm talking about the subject. I'm talking about the subject because you are trying to discredit an organization which by the government of India's own data is the number 2 and the best university in the country. You said that there are few individuals there. I agree with you. You said JNU. Why are you journalizing?
Let me ask you.
Don't journalize now.
Let me ask you.
You said there are certain individuals.
I've said so.
Every university.
I've said there's a history department. I've said there's a committee within the history department.
Here is a man who comes on your channel on a daily basis and gets a salary from JNU and tries to discredit and create anti-national.
So there is no, hang on. There is no free speech.
Anand Ranganathan should have guts.
No, everyone should be a conformist.
I think this guy is crossing the line out here. Please, he must be stopped or I'm going to come in here. These are slanderous allegations. I have never called JNU anti-national. You better apologize. I know you know nothing about journalism.
You are trying to discredit.
Stop this slandering.
Okay, if you're going to make this personal, Ashutosh, if you're just going to make this personal, if you have some grouse against Dr. Anand Ranganathan, then I'm sorry, you're losing the argument here. Let me put it on record in case you didn't hear. This is what I said. Now listen to me 1 minute. Listen to me. Listen to me. I began by saying, unfortunately, the School of History in JNU. I am referring to a department. I am not referring to the entire university. No, 1 second. I'm not referring to the entire university. I also mentioned the School of History. Perhaps you choose not to hear. Number two, Ashutosh, 1 minute. You can't go around muzzling everybody, sir. You cannot go around impugning everybody. You cannot go around attacking everybody personally and then turning this around and saying that, listen, I am not allowed to speak. I'm sorry, sir. Lines will be drawn. This is times now. We draw a line, we don't cross those lines, and those lines are we don't make debates personal about individuals, about their lives, about their past. We don't cross that line. Okay? If you don't respect those lines, that's not my problem. You have to.
No, you don't respect.
I completely do, but you cannot every day sit here and gerrymander. No, 1 second. You can't sit here and change the definition and the boundaries daily about what you think should be debated. I'm sorry, sir. I want to ask you a specific question, and can you answer this question specifically? Let me ask you and let me test you. I'm asking you, sir, do you agree with this statement that has been put out by the JNU History Committee? And it says that debate has no relevance except in the minds of those who seek to advance their communal agenda, though through an attempt to superimpose the mythical Saraswati over the well-excavated Harappan material culture. And let me ask you now, sir, my question on the back of this quote. Do you think that this quote is inviting debate and inquiry? Or is it inviting, sir, censorship? You tell me now.
No. Can I answer?
Please.
Rahul, I haven't
First
spoken.
of all,
Can I please come in?
First of all, I do not agree with the statement made by the history department of JNU.
Good.
I firmly believe there is a democracy in this country and everybody has a right to speak. Whether you agree with me or you do not agree with me, if you will not let me speak, that means you have no the sense of democracy. So on that point, history department is on the wrong side. History department should not have made opinion. I personally believe that Saraswati civilization concept is a myth. But if General G.D. Bakshi has got certain evidences, that evidences has to be evaluated, probed. It has to be evaluated and probed, and only then it can become a historical fact. My point is, if I stop General G.D. Bakshi from talking about the Saraswati civilization, then I am not democratic. My only submission is, it has to be probed, it has to be evaluated, and if it is proved, fine enough. The great service will be done by General G.D. Bakshi. I have no quarrel on that.
Dekhiye, Ashutosh ji, when you address the question with a straight answer,
Rahul,
you were given all the time to speak. See, that's what I'm saying. And I'm glad you've taken what is a really democratic position on this. And that's my problem. General G.D. Bakshi, look, we can argue with you. We can debate the facts that you have presented in your book. We can suggest that, look, maybe you got it wrong. But if we just block you, if we muzzle you, then we are not a university. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, Rahul.
Rahul,
You know,
can I please
hypocrisy. Can I just, madam, just finish? Then it's all yours. You know, what I was saying was, hypocrisy is the worst sin. From that same institution, we have heard fiery expositions on breaking up this country under the rubric of free speech. And yet, when I requested, permission to present my viewpoint, I have been vilified and called all sorts of names. Be that as it may, I am very concerned as a military man, as an Indian citizen. My simple point is this. In the last 50 years, a whole host of evidence in multiple fields has now come out, which calls for a relook at our paradigm. It calls for a paradigm shift in our history because the weight of evidence in multiple fields is now becoming so much. Last year, Rahul, we had a multidisciplinary seminar at the Delhi University in July. We called the satellite imagery expert. We called the geologist, the paleo channel expert, right? We called the archaeologist, people of the eminence of Dr. B.B. Lal, Dr. Bhisht. These are legendary names in archaeology, right? They may not belong to the leftist camp, but others have a right to exist and express their opinion. Rahul, we called scriptural and linguistic experts. 2 days we deliberated, right? And then we just wanted to present these findings to invite debate, discussion, criticism, so that we can come to conclusions by presenting empirical facts, as you put it so well, as is the credo of your channel. You base yourself on facts. You let facts speak for themselves. Let the facts decide. Let the evidence decide.
Okay.
It cannot be open to, ideological idiosyncrasies. Rahul, my simple point is that when Max Muller and Mortimer Wheeler propagated the Aryan invasion theory, there were no satellites. There was no carbon dating. There was no fluorescence dating. Today we have these tools. There was no DNA mapping. Today we have these tools. Let us now pool together these diverse fields of knowledge to create a Copenhagen-style convention.
Okay.
Rahul, you will recall that in the 1930s, the Copenhagen Convention assembled all the evidence.
That's true.
And made quantum mechanics a new science.
Yes.
Which changed the world. So now there are seminal questions in Indian history. Is the Aryan invasion theory correct?
Okay.
They have to modify it to Aryan migration theory.
Okay.
Is that correct? The chronology of the Aryan,
The point is,
Aryan invasion.
what G.D. Bakshi is telling us, what the good general is saying, is that if you don't have a conversation, you will never have the answer. Sudhanshu Trivedi and Sunny Dhiman. Let me bring both of you in. Sudhanshu Trivedi, people will say that this is a backdoor effort to try and foist some sort of an agenda on JNU, and you're bringing in these contentious issues to be discussed there, which goes against the prevailing ethos, the leftist ethos there. How do you respond to that?
Rahul, I will start with what Anand Ranganathan was saying. The Nature magazine has also mentioned that the river
was there from 80,000 years before till 20,000 years before. Then it got a less flow from 20,000 to 10,000 years. Then again from 10,000 years, then disappeared around 4,000 years. अब जानते हैं क्या है? The problem क्या है? यहाँ problem ये आ जाएगी. The Aryan invasion theory says that Aryans came in India on 1500 BC. अब प्रॉब्लम यह है कि वो सरस्वती नदी का तो गान कर रहे हैं और वो नदी जो 3000 साल पहले सूख चुकी थी. देयर इज अ कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन. इसलिए इनको लग रहा है कि थ्योरी हमारी गलत हो जाएगी. इनसेक्ट 3C पिक्चर, द नासा पिक्चर एंड द इसरो हैज प्रूव्ड 18 years बैक द ट्रैक ऑफ सरस्वती. एंड नाउ फॉरगेट अबाउट द सरस्वती. देखिए क्या होता है, जैसा भी जनरल जीडी बख्शी ने कहा, जो जो नई नई खोजें होती हैं सब कुछ बदलता जाता है. क्या कहते थे 200 साल पहले? इंडिया वाले तो किसी लायक नहीं थे, इनको ये लोग बर्बर असभ्य थे. 1786 विलियम जोन्स प्रूव संस्कृत इज द मदर ऑफ ऑल लैंग्वेजेस. फर्स्ट जोल्ट टू ब्रिटिशर्स. देन अच्छा ठीक है लैंग्वेज आती थी, बट दे वर नेवर ए नेशन. 1837 यंग प्रिंसेप फाइंड्स अशोका's एम्पायर. ओह, देश भी निकल आया. अब क्या करें? मगर इनके पास नॉलेज नहीं थी. देन मैक्स मुलर केम टू द सेक्रेड बुक्स ऑफ ईस्ट. ओहो, अब तो नॉलेज भी निकल आई. नाउ डिवाइस एंड आर्यन इन्वेजन थ्योरी. अब नॉलेज भी है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन भी है. क्या करें? अब सडनली 1920 सरस्वती सिविलाइजेशन, हड़प्पा सिविलाइजेशन निकल आई. अब क्या करें? अब ये कहेंगे कि ये तो डिस्ट्रॉय की गई थी आर्यंस के द्वारा. वाह भाई वाह. देन आजादी मिली. उसके बाद आइए 76 राम जन्मभूमि के नीचे खंबे निकल रहे थे, रोक दो, यही जेएनयू वालों ने रोका था. फिर उसके बाद रडार मैपिंग आ गई 2002 में. अरे 2010 में खुदाई हो गई, 72 खंबे निकाले. अब क्या करें? अब इन्हें लग रहा है पूरी आर्यन इन्वेजन थ्योरी चिथड़े होने जा रही है ऑन द बेस ऑफ कंक्रीट साइंटिफिक एविडेंस एंड द पॉलिटिक्स इज. ये फ्री स्पीच की बात करते हैं. आई चैलेंज, नेम अ सिंगल कम्युनिस्ट कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड देयर वाज फ्री स्पीच. नेम अ सिंगल कम्युनिस्ट कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड देयर वाज अ डेमोक्रेसी. All the three.
Leave it. This is not a communist country. This is India. This is India of Nehru and Gandhi, Ambedkar. Just be patient and hear some facts. Fact number one.
India, West Bengal and Kerala, there was a systematic killing. The only leader in the documented history of India, M.M. Mani from Kerala, has said, just we have
6th of September article published in Science and the Cell.
Why are you frothing, Sunny Dhiman?
Yes, Aryan invader came from outside.
Instead of debating this in a television debate, why don't you open it out?
Listen.
No, why don't you open your college grounds out and have that debate there? No, but your college grounds are occupied by the Umar Khalids of the world, the Sharjeel Imams of the world, the Kanhaiya Kumars of the world, and half a dozen of other Bollywood actors who will come there will come there and say their two little bits, which will, of course, be completely in consonance with your worldview. If you have so much to say, say it in a webinar or a seminar. Hold it, discuss it.
Rahul, can you give me 30 seconds?
I'll give you 45 seconds.
Anchor
Why don't you take these seconds from General G.D. Bakshi and do it in JNU?
Just here I begin and I want a silence from your side.
इतनी बड़ी डिबेट करनी है तो आप JNU में क्यों नहीं करते? टाइम्स नाउ पे क्यों कर रहे हैं? आप मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी में क्यों आ रहे हैं सर?
I will not. It is my fundamental right to protest. I will protest against G.D. Bakshi who abused the youth student. I will protest because he is not an academician. I will protest because he is promoting RSS propaganda. I will
happen to have a MSc,
my fundamental right to protest.
and a PhD from the University of Madras. I'm not an academician.
General G.D. Bakshi insult our Indian. General G.D.
You know,
Bakshi
what is your name? Sunny Dhiman. You have made Sunny Dhiman. You have made a career out of sitting on television channels and blathering on, insulting people. You have no clue. You are just you have no clue. You are absolutely, unfortunately, sir, one of those who are bringing a bad name to your university because all that you are exhibiting is your ignorance. If this is what they teach you, sir, at JNU on taxpayer money, I'm sorry, I think we've got it completely wrong.
No, brother.
We've got it completely wrong.
I'm sorry.
This is not the product. This is not the product of a university that is rated number 2. Look at this man frothing away, insulting people, suggesting that there's scholarship. Have you written a book? Have you ever written a book, sir? Do you know what it takes? Do you know how much effort it takes? Do you know? Don't belittle people. Do something. Then talk. Instead of writing pamphlets the whole day about breaking India, write a book, argue a point, have a debate, be civilized.
We work for the nation. Be civilized. We are the nationalists and we work for this nation.
Who is questioning your nationalism? We are questioning, sir, your intellectualism or the lack of it. You silly man. You are not understanding.
Radhakrishnan's son founded Center for Historical
You are
Studies.
so trivial.
Saying that we are anti-national.
You are so trivial. I don't know why the taxpayers are paying for your education, sir. You obviously don't want it. You know everything.
Vice Chancellor was asking... Rahul, there is a...
Look at them.
The Vice Chancellor
This is the future.
was asking CV from the
Look at them.
historian.
Ashutosh
CV from world
is a former scholar from your university. And that same Ashutosh is saying, open your minds, have the debate on campus, no problems.
I'm saying, I'm against...
नहीं, मगर आपको शर्जील इमाम की बात सुननी है, आपको वो जो उमर खालिद साहब हैं, उनकी बात सुननी है आपको, क्योंकि आपको अच्छा लगता है.
Invaded from outside.
ठीक है सर, देखिए सुनिए, I don't want to argue with you, sir. This debate should be actually happening in the corridors of JNU. I mean, look at these people. They're making such fools of themselves. Look at this. This is what we call a well-rounded education. A well-rounded education in what? In stonewalling, obfuscation, argumentation, which is born out of ignorance. This is what taxpayers are funding. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, very quickly, I need to move on. But listen to me. I want to ask you a question. Look, the academics will say that we have a right over who we should invite. The Historical Studies Center appoints a committee. That committee should be vetting people, and they are the ones who set out the invites, etc. This procedure, they say, was not followed. A quick response to that before I move on.
Yeah, Rahul, very quickly, as I correctly pointed out, there were always two issues here. and both were connected. One was on science, and I already quoted to you that paper in Nature Scientific Reports, and my good friend Sunny should read it, on the existence of the perennial river in the Harappan heartland, published in November 2019, that said that Saraswati was always a glacial fed river, not a monsoon fed river. Number two, you see, this is the thing, it was immaterial, even if there was scientific evidence. They just object to General Bakshi coming and delivering a webinar because they object to his ideology. And rather, they don't object to his ideology, they object to him not being a communist, not being a Mao lover, and finally, I'd just like to say that one thing I do admire in the leftists, you know, भले कुछ ना आता हो, लेकिन इनकी WhatsApp यूनिवर्सिटी में सबसे पहला रूल है, कुछ नहीं आता, लेकिन ये प्रोजेक्ट करो कि हमें सब आता है. Celebrate ignorance. They don't respect scholarship, they don't respect scholars. बस ये दिखाना है कि हमसे बड़ा कोई नहीं है. तो सड़क पे उतर आओ, ये दिखाओ कि नहीं भाई, this is wrong, you are wrong. बस हम, वो एक मीम है ना, मैं सबको आता है. They exemplify that meme.
Well, I really don't know what to say. Such spirited debates are coming from two JNU students or affiliates of JNU, call them what you want to. Why can't they have this exchange of ideas in a civilized space in the JNU with General G.D. Bakshi? How productive wouldn't that be? Would it not? If these are people who have their facts, they will be able to score the debating point, but they won't do it.